We'll call meeting to order. Got roll call. And say the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I assume we don't have any comments from citizens, seeing none. Public Works, we have an activity report in our packet. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Make sure you put in the paper how well the street, the 6 to 10 inches of snow was cleaned off the streets this time.
What do you mean, there's still snow on the streets?
Not nearly as much as there was the last time we had 6 inches or so. All right, anything on the streets? Anything under sanitation? Or storm sewers? Or other?
You spent a lot of time shining.
Yeah. All right, electric department. We have an activity report. Are there any questions or comments on the electric report?
Did we lose any power yesterday or this weekend from the ice?
Nope.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Okay, any other under electric department?
Did you go look at that poll, Mark?
No, I have not yet. Yeah, I'll have to look at that. I'm pretty sure that it's got some shell rot. So, a little lower priority with streetlight pole, but it's probably time to replace it.
Okay, water and sewer department. There's an activity report in our packet. Any questions or comments? Request for engineering proposals for water planning.
I finally did a draft of that and mailed it out to 5 different engineering firms.
Okay,
But we need to have a committee to review the proposals when they come back in.
okay.
Myself and Mike and who else?
I'll do it.
Any wishes that's sufficient to us?
I think so.
Okay.
If you need a fourth, I can jump
Next up, purchasing lime pond sled and pump.
You should have a bid from Letts, Van Kirk and Associates. Currently, we have a Vaughn pump and sled behind the water plant in those 3 ponds that back there. We have the ability to pump out of those, bring that excess lime out, pump it to the farmers' pastures or cropland, wherever they want to put it on. Probably the last 10 years or so, we've been having trouble with that pump. First 20, I was here, everything worked good, but it's not working real good right now. And we've had it rebuilt a couple times. It's just out of alliance bed. It's just not pumping like it should. And we're putting more money into it than what it's worth. This is a new price. This is the area rep for the Vaughn pumps. This would be a total unit with new motor, pump, and the platform, which also has a manifold on the bottom to kind of keep the line broke ahead of the pump as it goes through. There's a price of $18,917, and then above that there's a $39.26 for the manifold. We would have to have that too. This is the correct price. I just have one question with the manufacturer. He was not in today, and I just want him to verify through either picture or coming here, make sure that I'm getting the same unit that we've got out there right now, so I don't have to change a bunch of other things down the road later on. It's I'm sure it is, but I just want verification from them, and he wasn't in today, so as soon as I get that, by the time you all go ahead and vote on this, see if you like it, I should have a definite answer on that.
$22,843.
Yes, yes. In order to get that, get ready for this, we're gonna have to get the existing line out of the pond right now. So far, the only way we've been able to do this is get a track out, put it in the dump truck, and haul it out to the farmer. I have a farmer probably less than a mile outside of town that wants it, which will speed the process up from what we normally do, because we were normally going about 8 miles north. So, should speed it up considerably. You'll have about a $3,000 cost per track hoe per week. May not take all week, but that's gonna be the price we're gonna start with.
So we need to take action on this tonight or next week or?
Let's wait. I wanna talk to him, and by the time you're all ready to do that, I'll have a definite answer, and I'll let them know on that.
We need to do it next week or is that the regular meeting?
Well, I would presume this can go on the regular board agenda, although it's gonna be a rich, full agenda. But does anybody object as long as we get the competitive quotes about going ahead and getting the track hoe if the weather presents itself to be able to do that? There's only two vendors, so
Yeah.
That'll depend on who's got, one have a reach across it. I mean, that's a big thing. We're gonna get it measured and make sure we don't go on long enough arm that can reach all the way out there and get it cleaned out.
Okay. Motion? Any motion for that?
Anybody have a problem with it? Okay. Go ahead with it.
So how many loads of lime you think are in there?
We took 127 out last time we did it, dump truck loads. So there's a bunch, and it's full. Cause it gets to the point where you can't pump it, and then you're behind already at that point, so. If we can get it while the ground's halfway firm, we can get rid of it pretty quick at this short distance.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that because once it thaws, it's not that much. About that.
You could- thank you.
Okay. Any other underwater insurance?
I don't have any.
Okay. Other, presentation of full budget draft.
do it right now. John? Thought I heard somebody out there. Right there. Ron is on camera.
Mike, how big is this line on?
How big?
Acre surface area?
Yeah, it's probably.
I assume this is pretty much in line with what we've been going over the last 2 months.
This is the one right there. The one that's real white because it's got lots of lime in it.
Okay. With regard to the budget, it has the special and capital items previously discussed. It's- Personnel is calculated at 4% raise for everybody. It's balanced by the 8% savings on health insurance that we realized at the start of the year. There are no there's a very small, almost negligible cost for having an alternative for R-class resistant uniforms to be bought by the city instead of furnished by Airmark. It's almost a wash. Nothing else in the union contract has any effect. So the union contract, once the union sign off on final language, will likely be in the regular board agenda, along with the salary ordinance. The matrix has been changed by the 4%. The budget includes 2 part-timers for 3 months for the street department, includes merit increases for 2 employees. The city, the number that is there for the city manager administrator position is 4% higher than current, but it's only for the presumable 9 months that the new administrator will be here. And that's purely as a placeholder. It does have health insurance back in there. I'm not taking health insurance, but I'm sure whoever is hired new will have health insurance. You have not heard me talk about the special revenue funds previously. Most of them are pretty straightforward. The budgets for park, pool, and recreation center were developed by the park department after conversations between them and myself concerning revenue and expenditure calculations. There is one spot that I will want to let get by me earlier in the year. Cemetery fund. We've sold more lots than budgeted, but we didn't get nearly as much interest. We didn't get nearly as much in the way of public contributions. So while we're spending more, the revenue is down. And you have to have a certain amount of fund balance in the cemetery fund to account for the perpetual care fund. And taking into account what it should have been last year and was actually a little bit higher according to the auditor, what it will be for this year and what it will become for next year, there's a transfer put back in from the electric fund to the cemetery fund like we had 2 years ago. For the large one, $37,000, which will cover what's needed to build the perpetual care fund back up to the right balance. When you're taking maybe, if you're lucky, $5,000 or so in revenue, except for the sale of lots, which all goes to the perpetual care fund directly. When you're only making $50 per grave space for burying people, it doesn't really cover the cost of mowing. It doesn't even come close. And we've looked at having the park mow it or Bill mow it. You can't touch it really for what we're contracting it out for. So the only way that this is going to change is someday when the interest rates go back up and at 400 and some thousand, then perpetual care starts paying off some revenue that'll cover the contract labor for cemetery mowing. So that has been added. I was worried about being able to do that from the electric fund, but you notice it's been rather cold, and just like last year was more mild than normal, we took in more money just from sales, absent any rate increase. We took in more for sales than projected. And we've had the other advantage that instead of sinking a lot of money into Prairie State every month because the market is down below cost of production when you include capital costs, it's been up. Next, some weeks it's been up considerably. So we're closer to breaking even right now. Price of natural gas keeps going up. The market will be up, and that may be a little bit more of a common thing. But for right now, we'll take it as a one-time thing. And between those two events, we have the money to cover that transfer. At the next regular board meeting, you will have a resolution to adopt the budget. So, as I said, an ordinance for the union contract, an ordinance for the raises for salaried officials plus the 2 merit increases, There will be a second public hearing and a second resolution to govern. Probably will be 4 funds or activities where we'll have to increase the budget slightly. Library got that big bequest, which they put into the children's area. So that was funneled through us and back to the library, but the transfer amount is above what was budgeted, and we'll include that. The change in the sanitation fund necessary because we got the insurance proceeds and bought a new truck, raises that. Cemetery looks like it's gonna be about 1,000 over the budget. The park activity has been quite a bit above what was projected. They did more repairs, bought more equipment. They have commensurate revenue to deal with it, but they're spending more than was projected last March, so that will be adjusted. And I'm keeping tabs on the rec center. No matter how well we project without going overboard, the recreation center seems to still be a resounding success, and revenues keep coming in as better than what we thought, and they're at the stage now where they're replacing some of the weight training equipment, stuff like that, so that might need to be bumped up a little. I don't think so, but we're keeping track of it.
Okay. Any other? Anything may arise. Anything? We have a closed session. Would somebody like to make a motion to go into closed session?
Hello.
All right.
Make a motion that we go into closed session and hold a closed vote, and the purpose of such a closed session and closed vote shall be hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of particular employees by a public governing body when personal information about the employee is discussed or recorded as provided for under section 610.021(3) of the revised statutes of Missouri.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, we need a roll call vote that way. All right.
Lee,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Yes.
Pinky,
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Okay,
We're in closed session.
we will open session. Anything else? Your motion to adjourn?
I got one thing.
Oh, okay.
I meant to bring it up to the mayor's. I've had a lot of complaints of why the city bill was so high the past 2 months, and now this one's back to normal. I mean, mine was 300 last month. Not last month, but the month before. And this month it's 119. And the weather hasn't changed, and I've had everything the same. But it's almost a $200 difference.
Can't think of no reason why we didn't.
I mean,
The most recent one was for a shorter period, by 2 or 3 days. That doesn't count for the kind of, well,
I mean, I've had a lot of people say that they've had high, from December to January, their months were outrageous. And then this month was, you know, like I said, there was only a 3-day difference, or 2-day difference.
but the most recent one actually had was the first bill that the rate increase for electric was on, so if anything, it should be a balanced out from that, even though it was a shorter month. So I cannot give you an explanation.
But like I said, I just,
Unless it was the people that had a water leak or something like that, and/or some people get sticker shock and they turn the temperature down and compensate.
I mean, mine has been the same all the way around. And mine was $300, and now it's 119. From last month to this, from last bill to this bill I just got in the mail. It was that difference.
119.
From 300 to 119. And I haven't adjusted the heat or plugged in any other heaters
You
or.
got electric heat, I assume?
Yes, I got gas.
Got gas heat?
Uh-huh.
I can't imagine why it would be that high.
I can't eat it. And like my neighbor's was 800.
Your neighbor didn't have 2 months because he didn't pay the last one, and
I don't know that. I mean, they just said their bill was 800.
there have been customers who live in houses that I know have bad insulation and electric heat that had bills of $400 or $500. I know some people in trailer houses with a $500 bill, and I feel for them, but I know why they do
Well,
it.
like Denny, I talked to him and his was outrageous last month, and then it was back down to normal this month.
I think he unplugged his hot tub
No, I just talked to him tonight, and he said his hot tub was still plugged in.
though.
Mhm.
So we're talking about water bills or electric bills?
The whole city bill.
The whole utility bill as a whole.
I mean, the thing to do is find out whether the whole thing is up, or, because you would expect one, either the electric or the water to be the one that jumped. I mean, obviously, the trash isn't gonna change.
No.
Well, mine's been real consistent,
Yeah, I haven't heard.
Like I said, mine was, I was just scared to leave the mailbox when I got mine. Matter of fact, I put it back in the mailbox and Lindsay grabbed it out and brought it inside.
The way you describe it, I would have suspected the current one was actually abnormally low. If I have specifics, I can compare them to past months and to last year. It's real hard to do in the aggregate. I didn't. I noticed that this last month that we just sent out the bills, was a little higher, and I attribute that to the rate increase.
So I mean, mine
But
was,
the water and sewer bills should be pretty consistent this time of year.
I mean, mine was just definitely lower than it was last month, and nothing's changed.
I'll look at it.
We're just giving you a breather.
Yeah.
You didn't realize, but you're our fallback for our financing of the city.
So I mean, it's
The
just something.
$800 bill sounds to me like somebody who had a previous month's carryover, hadn't paid it at the time we printed up the new bills, and so it carried over it. It should have been shut off, but since cold weather rule, and I don't know when it's going, you know, you'll have some daytime temperatures, but it's still gonna be below freezing at night for next week, 2 weeks at least.
Friday.
So we're carrying probably 25 people who would shut off otherwise.
Yeah. Okay.
But like I said, it's just something you might check into.
Sure.
All right, anything
I
else?
don't wanna be giving rebates that are unexpected this time of year. I want, cause
Yeah.
those bills have, except for this month's, have already been taken into account in the budget as far as projecting revenues. And they don't. I'll look and I'll print off what the aggregate totals are, and water's been running 40,000 all those months, pretty steady. Sewer's almost always 18.5 to 19.5. It's electric that bounces because of the weather. Trash should always be the same.
But you think with my increase on my electric bill would be the same or a little higher than it was last
I
month?
would.
But it's not.
That 300 was the biggest one you've ever had?
Yeah. Since I've lived there.
And,
And I had 2 months of that.
and everybody gets rid
But I
of.
was thinking December was the Christmas lights and stuff like that. But then January hit me and it was the same, and then February hit me and it was.
With the laptop, everybody gets read on the same day unless there's a no read, in which case there's a small possibility that they get read the next morning. If we don't, if the crews are tied up.
Days different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll look into it.
All right, anything else? We're gonna do adjourn, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.